immigration. A number of lawsuits are also likely to be filed. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
In lockdown mode Thursday after a recently fired Netflix worker allegedly called in a threat. Sunset Bronson Studios security says a Netflix worker who was fired Wednesday called a former co-worker and said he had a gun, was at the studio lot, and was, quote, ready to take action. The LAPD swarmed the lot, but it turns out the suspect was not actually there. Police say the suspect didn't have a gun when taken into custody. Media reports say he was arrested at his home. Local news station KTLA is also located on the 11-acre studio lot and was also put on lockdown. Stick around, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's All-Star Weekend and state champions are being crowned. Lainey Gerber will catch you up with everything sports. But before we go, we want to tell you about a class happening for the opportunity at Stillwater Library. This is going horribly.
I feel like I'm so far from the table.
My favorite part about teaching this class is the deaf culture and how it relates to my experiences, my stories, and how I can relate it to teaching vocabulary. I don't think ASL is difficult to learn, but for hearing people who rely on their hearing, they have to switch that to relying on their visuals, their eyesight. ASL can be easy to learn once that happens. The class is open for everybody. You can learn ASL. It doesn't matter if you only know a little bit of sign or you have no idea about any signs, that's fine. We'll teach you. We're going to talk about stories, vocab, deaf culture, and deaf history. Students are going to be very involved in the class and they're going to learn a lot with hands-on activity. We're going to gesture to each other, we're going to learn deaf culture, and we're going to learn about all the deaf history.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
What is arts and sciences?
We aren't all about the arts.
We like to think of ourselves as explorers.
From exploring the human mind
to discerning the building blocks of the universe.
We don't just read books.
We don't just sit in the classroom.
And we don't just solve problems.
We seek to give everyone a voice.
In a variety of approaches.
We tackle the big issues.
By understanding complex social structures.
And even understand the small ones.
We take passions to new heights.
But stay grounded.
We tell stories.
Of the past.
Of the present.
And work to predict the future.
We like to think with a little preparation. Some dirt under the fingernails.
And some self-analysis.
You can do anything.
With nearly 100-degree plans to choose from.
Where will your arts and science degree take you?
Connect, achieve, succeed.
Welcome back to the Daily O. I'm Lainey Gerber. Coming off of the second worst home loss in school history, Cowboy basketball will travel to Texas to take on the Longhorns. OSU is looking to avoid an 8-game conference losing streak for the first time ever. One-on-one host Logan Mosier sat down with O'Colly men's basketball beat writer Hallie Hart.
Hey everybody, I'm here with men's basketball beat writer Hallie Hart. Thanks for joining me, Hallie.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right into it. There's obviously not a ton of positive stuff to talk about from last night, but what was your take on the game last night?
You know, I think Mike Boynton summed it up best when he said, we were bad and Texas Tech made us bad. Texas Tech defensively and offensively challenged the Cowboys, and like he said, OSU didn't really have an answer for any of it. You know, you had guys out there like Matt Mooney who went 5 for 5 from three-point range, and there was really nothing OSU could do about that, especially with such a small roster that they have. You know, any game that they play, trying to keep those guys from getting tired and keeping them locked in for as many minutes they have to play isn't easy, but against a team like Texas Tech that's got such strong defense, and then last night on fire from three, OSU really couldn't stop that, and Tech did force them into being bad.
Right, and you mentioned those guys that play a lot of minutes, Lindy Waters, Cameron McGriff, Thomas Tazagwa. Those guys all average over 30 minutes per game. Can you talk about what their role is as leaders on and off the court?
Yeah, so to start with, even when they had more guys on the roster at the start of the season, their role was huge because they had no four-year seniors. You know, the oldest guy on the team was grad transfer Mike Cunningham, who of course now has parted ways with the program. And so their leadership always mattered, but now it matters more than ever. You know, Lindy Waters always talks about how those three guys, they've been through adversity before this season. They started off recruited by Travis Ford, then going through the 1 year with Brad Underwood. And these guys like Urinay and Isaac Likely, they don't know what that's like. So this is kind of their first experience of these challenges. And so I think Cam, Lindy, and Thomas are really important to just kind of show them like, hey, we've been through some struggles. We're still here sticking with it. So to lead those freshmen and show them the example is really important.
Yeah, and you mentioned Urinay. He fouled out last night. He didn't have a great game last night, but he has gone through quite an improvement throughout the season. Can you just talk about his development as a player?
Yeah, I've been really positively surprised with Yor this season. When you think about, I mean, like Boynton said, of course he's made freshman mistakes, especially getting into some foul trouble, which he cleaned that up a little bit, and then last night he fouled out. But when you think about some of the guys who got to be really good players, like take Mitchell Solomon, when you think about him as a freshman, he had a lot of struggles. And then you compare Yor to guys like that, considering his progression already at this point, I think the future is really positive for him. He's great at blocking shots. He's gotten more locked in, and like I said, the foul trouble, that's something he's still going to work on, but I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and one of the bright spots from last night was the new walk-ons got to play in their first game in Gallagher-Iba. Can you talk about what that was like?
Yeah, it was funny because here you had OSU toward the end of what's their second worst loss ever in Gallagher-Iba, and the crowd is like losing its mind cheering. And so, you know, if someone just saw that moment, they'd be like, why is this happening? But it's because Tanner Taylor took his first shot in an OSU uniform and made it. It was a three-pointer, and so you had the crowd going crazy, and then the other guys, the other three new walk-ons, Gabe Simpson, and the other two, you had them come in the game too. So it was really kind of, as Boynton said, the silver lining in a night that otherwise really didn't have one.
Right.
So it was kind of cool, even though there were few fans around by the time they did get in, it was cool to hear, especially the students really put their support behind those walk-ons.
Right, and you know, it's a long regular season. We're probably not going to hear their name called on Selection Sunday or see them in the NIT. What do you think they have to do to succeed for the rest of the season? What do they have to do to win some more games down the stretch?
You know, I think they've got to just ride this season out, whether they're winning or continuing to lose. I think really what they've got to do, you know, they can't get too far ahead of themselves, but of course next season they've got a strong recruiting class coming in with players like Avery Anderson, Boone Twins, Marcus Watson. So I think they've just got to keep that in mind. But as far as this season, you know, really just working on that strength, being able to stay consistent through a full game, because Texas Tech dominated from the start, but there have been some opponents where OSU's had a lead and lost it. So I think the big question for them is, if we get the lead, how can we maintain it instead of getting tired and checking out by the end of the game?
Right, and do you think that has to come from Mike Boyd managing the minutes of Waters, DeZagua, and McGriff, or maybe relying on some of those guys that got in last night? What are your feelings on that?
You know, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if we see those walk-ons out there again. Like Boynton said, that's obviously not the situation that he wanted to have them out there. He wanted it to be a big win. But I don't know. I mean, I think some of the guys, Waters' minutes haven't increased that terribly much, just because he was already playing a lot to start with. But some of them, when you look at Yorene's minutes, I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but his have increased tremendously. So I think it's a matter of really being able to limit fouls and, yeah, maybe kind of managing the minutes. But, I mean, I think those guys now know that they have to play so many minutes. So it's just a matter of doing it and staying focused.
Right. Well, you heard it from the expert, Hallie Hart. Thanks for listening, guys. For the Daily O, I'm Logan Mosier.
Thanks, Logan and Hallie. Oklahoma State baseball kicks off the 2019 season tonight at UT Rio Grande Valley. The Pokes will wrap up the series on Sunday. OSU will return home for the final season at Alley P on Tuesday against Little Rock. Cowgirls softball is continuing play in the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational today against Notre Dame and Utah. The Cowgirls will conclude the tournament with a doubleheader against California and Hofstra. Trent Hendricks went to Shawnee, Oklahoma to check out a local high school on their journey to a state wrestling title.
The 3A high school wrestling dual state started this past weekend with many talented teams competing for the state title. The quarterfinals kicked off at 2 p.m. Friday with Comanche facing against Mangum, Marlowe wrestling Sperry, Vian taking on the defending champs, Perry, and finally, Jay versus Pawnee. After the first round of the tournament, Perry, Jay, Comanche, and Marlowe found themselves in the semifinals. Perry faced off against Jay and quickly dominated on the mat. With a score of 72-9, that blowout score secured a spot for them in the final. On the other mat, it was a different story. It was a showdown between small-town rivals, Comanche versus Marlowe. Comanche won matches early, but Marlowe prevailed. They battled their way into the finals, defeating Comanche in one of their final matches by only 2 points. The stage was set and the stadium was exciting and in a roar. Marlowe had won matches against Perry early on in some of their lighter weights. But the Outlaws quickly realized why Perry has won 13 dual state championships since 1991. Since 1961, Perry has never gone longer than 2 years without a state championship. The end result was Perry defeating the Outlaws 38-27 and adding another title to their long legacy.
Congratulations to Perry on their dual state championship. Cowboy Wrestling travels to Missouri for a battle of undefeated teams. Number 2 OSU wrestles number 5 Mizzou in their final road match of the year, before returning to Stillwater to take on Iowa next Sunday. In the NFL, Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed have issued a joint statement saying they have resolved the collusion case the players filed against the league under the collective bargaining agreement. The filing, which demanded an arbitration hearing on the matter, said the NFL colluded to deprive Kaepernick of employment for his role in the national anthem protest of police brutality and racial inequality. The results of the matter are confidential. And over to the association, the New Orleans Pelicans has fired general manager Dell Demps the night before All-Star Anthony Davis left Thursday's game against the Thunder with a left shoulder injury. Davis did not play in the second half and left the arena during the game. To stay in the NBA, for the ultimate fan, your wardrobe is getting a reboot. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver showed off some new technology, the jersey of the future. During the kickoff of the 2019 All-Star festivities in Charlotte, Silver demonstrated how the high-tech wear works. Names and numbers magically transform, allowing fans to show their support for various players without changing their shirts. Unfortunately, the jersey won't change your allegiance when your beloved team loses a close game. No word on when the jerseys will go on sale or how much they will actually cost. NBA All-Star Weekend does get underway in Charlotte tonight with the Celebrity All-Star Game at 6 p.m. tomorrow. All-Star Weekend will continue with the skills competition, three-point contest, and dunk contest, with Thunder rookie Hamidou Diallo taking stage Sunday. The All-Star Game will tip off at 8 p.m. with Thunder All-Stars Paul George and Russell Westbrook. We'll be right back with the weather and to wrap up. Stay tuned.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
What is arts and sciences?
We aren't all about the arts.
We like to think of ourselves as explorers.
From exploring the human mind
to discerning the building blocks of the universe.
We don't just read books.
We don't just sit in the classroom.
And we don't just solve problems.
We seek to give everyone a voice.
In a variety of approaches.
We tackle the big issues.
By understanding complex social structures.
And even understand the small ones.
We take passions to new heights.
But stay grounded.
We tell stories.
Of the past.
Of the present.
And work to predict the future.
We like to think with a little preparation. Some dirt under the fingernails.
And some self-analysis.
You can do anything.
With nearly 100 degree plans to choose from.
Where will your arts and science degree take you?
Connect, achieve, succeed.
Welcome back. Two very familiar television staples are coming back to your television. Nickelodeon is reviving All That this summer. The show could best be described as a Saturday Night Live for kids and tweens. It originally aired in the 1990s and 2000s and launched the careers of several well-known performers, including Nick Cannon, Amanda Bynes, and Kenan Thompson. In fact, Thompson, who's now a regular on Saturday Night Live, will serve as an executive producer for the new All That. Nickelodeon says it expects some of the old cast members to make an appearance. No word on when the new All That will premiere.
Ready for another round of Let It Go. Anna and Elsa are headed back to the big screen for Frozen 2. Disney dropped the first trailer for the sequel Wednesday. The trailer starts off with Queen Elsa taking on a stormy ocean. It also shows other favorites from the original, including Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, and Sven the reindeer. Frozen 2 hits the theaters November 22nd. It's cold in Arendelle and it's cold in Stillwater. As far as weather goes, it's pretty chilly for the rest of the day and the weekend. Grab your jackets. Here's a look at your weekend forecast.
Thanks for not turning us off. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.